see things through people.
Hey, what's up guys? This is Brian at Whisper Status 74. Welcome to the community, welcome to the channel. If this is the first time you were seeing me, please consider liking and subscribing. We are real tech for real people. Today's video is going to be the TCL Mini LED R635 6 Series Mini LED versus the Sony X950H full array local dimming 4K flagship for Sony. This is an exciting matchup that I've been looking to do since the TCL arrived. You've actually seen the Sony 950H on the channel in many videos, many little breakdowns, and many comparisons against the LG CX C10, a plasma, even the Sony 900E. It's been fun comparing these displays. Today's comparison will be the 49-inch Sony 950H versus the 55-inch TCL Mini LED R635. Now, if you're new to the community, the reason why some of these videos have intros and have me in here talking and some do not is if the video is either recorded in HDR or 4K 60, it does not go well with my editing software. So those videos are pretty much just put up on YouTube as they are. These other videos are rather long. There is more narrative, there is more explanation, including my own thoughts and my own perspective. And I do value your thoughts and perspective, and I am very active in the comments, and I am catching up in those comments. So please be patient, and I thank you for your patience. We are a very positive and non-toxic channel, so please keep that in mind while you're in the community. We do keep things very positive here. Really quickly about the TCL Mini LED, it is right now about $680 for the 55-inch, and keep in mind that the 55-inch version of the Sony 950H right now is about $1,100 or $1,200. So it's quite a big difference in price. And please keep that in mind during the comparisons. Though I don't always have to say that, I do think it's important, as a lot of these displays, namely TCL, Vizio, and Hisense, are either praised or completely ridiculed as being complete garbage. And I think that's terrible, to be honest. Now, they do have problems at times with their durability and their build quality and reliability. I have felt it firsthand myself more than once, but I want to give these companies a chance. I do want to champion these companies, as I do want them to succeed. I think staying with the big three is there's very few options there for anybody looking for value. You either have to get a really, really small display or go beyond your budget. These budget-friendly displays to me are important because they offer the specs of higher-end displays. This display, for instance, while it doesn't have HDMI 2.1, does have variable refresh rate and auto low latency mode, and that's something that also Dolby Vision. A lot of these other displays are, you know, either if they're not in the high end, if they're in the low end, or even the mid end, they don't offer some of the bare specs or bare minimum specs that many of you need to enjoy HDR and a pleasant viewing experience. That's why I think that these mid-range or even lower brands are so valuable, and I hope they do well. And that's why I champion them and cover all of them. This is not an elite channel. I'm not looking to put out the highest end products that nobody can afford. I do like to cover them all. That's why you've seen the Z9, the Z9G, displays that are $30,000 on here. But being realistic, I really want all of you to be able to enjoy the highest end specs at the lowest price, if that's possible. So please check out the TCL Mini LED R635 versus the Sony X950H. You'll see this running my favorite YouTube demos. This is just one comparison. We're going to do many of them. We'll also do the CX OLED, as well as the new display that'll be here in the next week or so, which I think you guys will be pleased with. But I want to say hello onto the video. Enjoy. Hey, what's up guys? We're now behind the camera. We have these TVs side by side. It is very hard to capture them both in frame, even though they're actually pretty small. The Sony X950H is on the left at 49 inches. It is in cinema mode. And the TCL R635 is on the right at 55 inches, and it is also in movie mode. It was hard to match these up when you're not having them in HDR, simply because, see if you can see that, simply because the backlight is different on these presets. The Tcl was definitely brighter out of the box, but the backlight was at max. Contrast is at max. So what we did is we went in and changed some of the settings on the Tcl here for movies, picture settings. All of the motion and stuff is disabled. The backlight was up around this for movies. But what I did change was the contrast down a little bit. It starts off at 100, which is interesting for a preset. And all the other settings are actually off. Color temperature is at warm, and the color vibrancy is at 45, which seems to be its kind of neutral position, where the X950H is on cinema, and the settings there are pretty basic. The brightness is up higher because its standard for cinema is 12. So I had to get them a little closer in brightness without turning the Tcl all the way down. Contrast, we are going to put the same as the about 95. Gamma is at 0. Black level is fine. Black adjust is off. All the extra bells and whistles are off. We'll even turn off extended dynamic range. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference in SDR. Local dimming is on high. And that's pretty much the settings as close as I could get them. They'll look definitely different in content, but we don't have extended dynamic range. Or I shouldn't say that. I mean, dynamic contrast is not available on the Tcl. So we're going to run some of our favorite YouTube demos here and see how they perform. Okay guys, we're behind the camera. This is LG Global. This is just their nature demo, one of my favorites. You'll see around the crab there's a little bit more blooming around the crab on the Sony, which is on the left. They both look very natural. Tcl's colors look very good. Local dimming is on high for them both. What amazes me about watching these demos is how similar they look. Sony is known for its color accuracy and preserving shadow detail. Keep in mind the Tcl is about $400 or $500 cheaper, $300 or $400 cheaper at the same size. One of my favorite demos. Now you will see a little bit loss of shadow detail on the Tcl in comparison to the Sony on some of these demos, which is something the camera is picking up well. Now in a couple of these scenes, the Tcl seems to have a little bit more depth to the image. So this is also one of my favorite demos. This is LG Global again. And we're going to take the camera off the tripod for this one, so we can actually get a little bit closer. So it's going to seem a little odd, is that finger's in the way. When we get up close, ooh, excuse me, the Tcl, you can see the stars are there. They are visible, but there is a great deal more on the Sony. Sorry, I have my charger on there too. So there's the Sony. And then the Tcl. Now from farther back, those stars are completely missing. But up close, they are there. So with all the shadow detail and black crush comments, yes, there is more black crush on a mini LED than a traditional full array local dimming, but the camera is showing this to be completely missing. And there they are. Is there as many? No. They're transitioning in slowly, like an OLED, but I did want to point that out. However, what you do gain is if you look at the black level of the mini LED versus the LED, you do see more haloing. So you have to pick your poison. Now from farther back, it looks like they are completely missing. which is why I think so many people think in YouTube videos that OLEDs crush blacks to oblivion. I'm showing you up close. I can't get that close because you'll lose the image, but you can see the stars are definitely brighter and more visible on the LED. But as I showed you getting closer, they are there, they're just not as bright. So let's continue. So what we'll do is we'll run that back. See, there's more haloing on the LED. They both look very good, very natural. Sony is just very good at being very good all around, kind of covering all the bases. Except this year with HDMI 2.1, they're always going to deliver a pretty solid product and an accurate one. But you can't deny that the TCL, that they've caught up a little bit. For Sony, this is their 4K flagship. The Z8H is their flagship, I guess, of LEDs, but it's 8K. This is the 4K flagship. And it's excellent. Alright guys, one of my favorite demos is from the HDR channel. It's a very vibrant demo, looks fantastic. Now look for vibrancy and look for shadow detail from both. Sony X950H is on the left at 49 inches. The TCL is on the right, Mini LED R635. They both look very similar color-wise. I got them pretty close. And there is no calibration being done on these. This is just by eye. The mobile app was not used for the TCL. It was kept at its kind of standard. Did not mess with the picture settings there at all. Gorgeous image on both. This demo is also long, which is very cool, for a demo anyway. Now, I'll say the TCL also, very clean panel for TCL. I have not done a dirty screen effect test on it yet, but I haven't really felt the need to, but I'll definitely do a video on that, showing it. But I've had a pretty clean panel. Other than the 4 bright corners when there is no content playing, it's pretty clean. Here's another LG global video. This one is about black level, so this will be interesting. Now again, with the Sony, the haloing you see does normalize with the camera. The problem with these demos is there's a quick transition. You don't always see it, or the camera doesn't have a chance to really grasp it. You can see once the camera normalizes, the black level's fine. But again, the mini LED has better blacks. You see how the Sony now normalizes. Alright guys, we're recording this part the next morning. This is the Spears and Munsil demo disc. This is actually being recorded in SDR. There is an SDR demo at the very bottom. Now, the reason why I wanted to record this the next day, I was having all kinds of technical issues with, Wi-Fi and everything else. I couldn't get these things to sync up even through the HDMI splitter, which is HDR pass-through. But you can see that it is difficult filming them both at the same time, being different technologies. A lot of times the Sony seems to halo more than it does in real content. The 55-inch and up has the X-wide viewing angle feature. I don't always love that feature as it lowers contrast ratio a little bit, but a lot of you guys seem to like it, so keep that in mind. Again, this is an excellent demo showing both of them, their strengths and weaknesses. They both look excellent. That horizontal banding is always weird on filming these. It doesn't happen on OLEDs much. Now you'll also see tomorrow the HDR version of this uploaded in HDR to see how they both perform. The camera was struggling tonight with some of the capturing of the blooming on the Sony. So a lot of times with these transitions, the camera needs a few seconds to normalize, and some of these transitions are really too quick, especially off angle. I will try to do them below each other, but it's important to try and be as center as you can with LEDs. You'll also see the LG CX C10 go against the mini LED, but I think the TCL has done very, very well, again, for a $300 to $500 price difference. Even color-wise, it does hang in there and does look very similar. The reason I showed you earlier up close, because the black crush comments with OLEDs and with the mini LED is being far away, it does seem to lose that. Now coming here, you're going to see some serious blooming on the LED on the Sony. That again is just the camera. There is some haloing there. You'll see it normalize here in a second. But again, it for some reason just grabs that, and that's not indicative of what I see. This is closer to what I really see. There will be slight haloing around it, but trying to control this by lowering aperture and raising aperture is really kind of cheating. So, if you try to fix it on what I see when a bright scene comes out, then it's not accurate either. So you have to leave the aperture at its normal position and let it do its thing. These displays can be made to look worse
by messing with the aperture and make them look better. That's why I tend to leave it where it is. And why the narrative is much more important in some of these videos. You even see that on Vincent's videos when he's filming with a much better camera than mine. He still says, don't judge it, because the blooming seems to appear worse. There's even blooming on OLEDs in some of his videos. So, but again, very, very impressed. I love the Sony 950H, but to have the TCL come in here at this price difference and perform in some ways better, in some ways very close, is pretty amazing. You'll see the camera normalize here in a second. There it goes. But you're seeing the transition of backlight with LED. Here in this next scene, see a little bit more dimension on the TCL. Now, the good thing about comparing these and filming them in HDR is the displays themselves will adjust automatically to what they want you to see. Here, I had to adjust them to get them to look more similar. Again, that haloing is not as present as it is in the video, but the blacks are very black on the TCL. Again, we'll release a full HDR version of this demo again tomorrow. It will be very interesting to see how the OLED compares to the mini LED, simply because I don't have to worry as much about blooming and kind of let them run wild and not have to explain that the blooming's not there. They're also the same size at 55 inches. All right, guys, I'll wrap it up here. Thank you, as always, for the great comments and for your patience. I really appreciate it. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I will talk to you soon, and thank you, as always. What are you guys thinking of the Tcl R635 Mini LED? Are you surprised by its performance? Are you disappointed by its performance? Again, we're looking at about a $400 to $500 price difference. See, the blooming is really non-existent there. Again, it's slower transition, so the camera has a chance to really capture it. But in blooming, we know these are quick time events in films that can distract us as well. So most scenes don't stay on scene for very, very long. I always do that. I say goodbye, and then I'm like, all right, for 2 more minutes, we're going to keep talking. All right, guys, I'll let this run out to the very end. Thank you, as always. Love you guys. I will see you in the comments. Take care.